Peensters, ex-workers of Reddit, what happened when someone recognized you in public? Hi Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will go down. Oh boy. Former, probably, escort. I had the same client 4 times over the course of July and the 2nd of August years ago. September rolls around, and he's my professor. Oof. Did you get an A at least? Well yes, but I'd like to think I did that on my own lol. But in what way? Once I knew that he was my prof, our business immediately ended lol. I have videos on YouTube that my ex posted, with my permission at the time. 2 acquaintances have mentioned seeing them. I would prefer they be removed, but not enough to contact my ex. I believe you can try and contact YouTube directly. I will look into that. The account seems inactive, so if they can disable it without notifying the owner as to the reason, it would be good. In these sort of cases they tend to respect the wishes of someone who wants a video of them independent of who the owner is, removed. Because of being sued. I've known AJ Applegate for a long time, before Peen in Connecticut. An absolutely great upbeat person that's pretty level-headed for her line of work. She gets approached all the time, but is rather kind about it. Just don't embarrass her. It took me a moment to figure out that you were not talking about the Anamorphs author. She's definitely one of my favorites. Nice to know she's actually a cool person. I saw Carly Gray at a club in LA and was so starstruck that I couldn't even talk to her lol. What would you have said? I loved your anal prolapse videos. Instead of leaving a lipstick print on a picture with her autograph, does she leave a rectal prolapse pucker? I will admit that my expectations were not entirely solid when I came here. But goddamn, rectal prolapse pucker is definitely a new one for me. I'ma need a minute. Ron Jeremy loved the burger dive I worked in the late 90s. He would come into town taking adult entertainers on tour. I was always his waitress. He was hands down the nicest person. I did not know who he was until his second visit. 10 out of 10 would refill his iced tea again. Winking face winking face. LOL. Alright, can someone please explain to me the appeal in Ron Jeremy? The man started his peen career because he was featured in Playgirl. All I can say is, seriously? He's not exactly the prettiest girl at the market. Like who you like, and I won't judge, but I literally have no idea why he is so popular. Because he showed up on set, on time, clean as a whistle, treated the cast well, delivered on command, and was a zero hassle actor liked by everyone in the biz. He also has a magnum dong. You can look like a male model is great, but can you get it up and keep it up for 90 minutes? Those are the qualities you need. Also a large hog. He's got a massive cock and at one point was limber enough to be able to suck it by himself apparently. So yeah, big dongs and peen are popular. As a ex-worker, I had a policy of ignoring clients in public and leaving it up to them to acknowledge me. Many were open and said hello, but it's safest not to make assumptions. Pro tip, pun intended. Choose a work pseudonym similar to your real name so people calling out to you in public seems less suspicious. Pardon my ignorance, but I got to ask. Are there actually those who don't use real names? I never expected you'd reveal your actual names. But do people really use crazy things like Starfire, Dove, Raven, etc.? 2 of those are names from Teen Titans the TV show. All 3, actually. Dove is from the live action show. All 4 actually. ETC was in the prequel. Nothing, really. It was far funnier when I recognized a client as not only someone I went to primary school with, but also my daughter's teacher. Okay, I'm listening. Did Jimmy only really get a C? Peenhub intro. Who the frick names their daughter Jimmy? Short for Jamantha. Former prodom here. Saw a client at the train station. He slipped me $50 and said it was a pleasure to see you and the wild mistress. He was a very sweet long-term client, so I thanked him and told him I looked forward to our next session. It was probably a little thrill for him. Hell, if I ever got into that kind of thing, that probably sounds about right. He sounds like a nice guy. Keeps it professional in public and made it clear he understands it's a business type relationship, which I've heard is hard to understand for some clients in your line of work. What did you think of that at the time? Angela White used to come into my old job all the time and I played it cool, even though she's one of my favorites. Until one day I finally said, "Thank you so much, Angie. I hope you have a great day. Keep up the good work." She turned a bit red in the face and just said, "Oh, thank you, sweetie. You keep up the good work." Made my knees weak, haha. Oh yeah, she's definitely a good one. You think she's banging on film. The camera really does add some weight cause she's an hourglass with a perfect face. And them eyes though. Heaven. I can see what's happening, and you don't have a clue. Who? I was a suicide girl back in like 2006, and also worked at a record store. One day I was behind the counter and some fat kid stopped and pointed and yelled, "Hey, that's my SG name, suicide." Mostly I thought it was funny, but also was like, seriously, dude, suicide girl? It was peen brand in pinup style that was popular in the emo MySpace era. Basically just chicks that looked like they worked at Hot Topic naked. Hot Topic? Former webcam girl. Went to a Jimmy John's. Come to find out one of my regulars works at Jimmy John's, booked out of there so fast. Freaky fast. Native advertising is everywhere it seems. This was also in a different state. He screamed out my stage name. And goes, "I can't believe it," and I literally ran out the door. Ugh. The least he could have done is played it cool. Why make a potentially awkward situation even worse? My mum and I ran into the stripper from my aunt's party while fishing one time. We were fishing at a creek, while there a man was riding his horse. He paused before crossing the creek, and we exchanged greetings. He asked about the fishing, etc. My mum all of a sudden comments to him that he looks kind of familiar and that's where we would know him from. You got a little grin, ducked his head, and said he was a dancer. All of a sudden the light in my mother's eyes hit and she asked if he danced at a party the weekend before. She of course responded, "I barely recognized you with your clothes on." Oh god, that must be either really funny or really embarrassing for you. I was only embarrassed that it took me that long to recognize him too. You were at a party with your mother and aunt that you hired a stripper for? Bachelorette party would make sense. I bumped into Gianna Michaels once on a CVS when I was on holiday in LA. I just kinda started to talk, but then couldn't get my words out. I already knew her real name, so asked her nicely if I could take a picture with her to send my girlfriend at the time for a laugh. She was lovely and a great laugh for probably what amounted to a 40-second conversation. You must have a really cool girlfriend to be like, "Met this person I wanked to when you're not around XD." Good on her. When I was 18, some girls, who I knew had found it from their jokes, laughing about my private Instagram, presumably reported me to college well-being staff. I was sat in a law class one day when suddenly a woman came in and said in front of the whole class she wanted to have a little chat with my name. She took me into this private room and asked if anyone was pressuring or forcing me into it, and tried to warn me of the repercussions if any future employers found it. To be honest, it was more ensuring my safety, but at the time I felt so embarrassed and humiliated. It also got around as a rumor that I slept with people for money, etc. I just sold nudes and cammed. I couldn't wait to leave that college. What a horrible way for the college to have handled it. How hard would it have been to send you a note asking that you stop by the office? Wellness office indeed. Probably hiring Fumblerfingers Malloy from CPS. If she were being forced into it, her captor/abuser would never let her go there. Intervening like they did, albeit abrupt, is really the most surefire way. It made the family reunion very awkward. My dad went to a strip club and his niece was one of the dancers. Big oof, that must have been very awkward. Full story. My dad, Billy, is a really classy guy. He's the type of guy that would take a girl on a date to a strip club. On this particular night, that's what he was doing. So they're sitting there and they announce that the next dancer is Bambi. He turns to his date and says that he has a niece named Bambi. She walks out on stage and says, "Uncle Billy, please don't tell my daddy I'm working here." Anyway, I asked dad if he tipped her and he said he did not, but the girl he was with did. As for Bambi working at a strip club, let's just say there's a reason those places are dark. She eventually gave up stripping when she got pregnant. Man, naming one's daughter Bambi almost makes this fate. Due to the law, I had to start stripping when noticed. That sure would make church awkward. I think you misspelled awesome. The law says you cannot touch, but I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house. I remember I had a strip club problem in my early 20s and saw one of the strippers shopping at the mall one time. She didn't look happy to see me not giving her money. But would she do it again if you gave the money? Probably not. That was like 15 plus years ago. I'm sure she was retired 14 years ago when she turned 20, lol. Not really the story you are looking for, but a group of guys and me hired a stripper/hooker for a Super Bowl party a while back. Many guys had their turn, if you know what I mean. Afterwards we sat around drinking BSing with her and she told us about a client of hers who fell in love with her and still pays her for dates couple times a week, but thinks she has stopped working for others and that they are exclusive. Fast forward about 3 weeks, my buddies and I hit the clubs. One dude we have known for years, but we're not very close friends with, tags along and says his girlfriend and some of her friends are going to meet us at the club. Cool. We get there and it's the same stripper/hooker. She recognized us and came over covertly and asked us not to tell her secret. We didn't, but had a great laugh about it. Poor bastard got his heart broken by that girl when he lost his job and the money dried up. Whoa, that is cold, but as they say, a fool and his money. You and your friends did cocaine. Guaranteed. I don't know what it's like having sex with a hooker without being high on coke, and I don't intend to ever find out. Who hasn't hoovered a little skneef? Okay Reddit guys, subscribe now, or I will go down.